presiding over today's hearing. Information on how to join this rulemaking hearing, both in person and electronically, was included in the rulemaking hearing notice filed with the Secretary of State's office and posted to the State Board's website. Since this hearing is being held both electronically and in person, I want to remind all attendees who are joining online to please keep yourself muted unless asked to unmute. This will minimize any audio feedback and ensure that the speaker can be heard. If anyone is attending in person, I will also ask that you remain quiet while not speaking so that online attendees can hear and be heard. Any attempts to disrupt the hearing will result in removal from the hearing, either electronically or in person. A redline version of the rules under consideration at this hearing are available both here in person and on the State Board's website under the link for today's meeting. This hearing is also being recorded and will be provided to State Board members for their review. This rulemaking hearing is an opportunity for the State Board of Education to gather public feedback regarding Graduation Requirements Rule 0520-01-03-.06, Civil Rights Compliance Rules 0520-01-21-.01 and .03 through .04, as well as Accountability Hearings Rules 0520-09-02-01 through -04. I will begin with a short summary of each proposed rule revision. First is the Graduation Requirements Rule 0520-01-03-.06. This rule outlines the graduation requirements for students in Tennessee and the process through which a student may request a waiver of certain graduation requirements. The proposed rule clarifies the process for waiving certain graduation requirements and improves the rule's clarity and readability. Elective focus course areas and expectations were updated, including adding world language as an area of focus and clarifying that students may switch areas of focus if appropriate. Additionally, the requirement was removed that world language courses be taken in the same language. Next are Civil Rights Compliance Rules 0520-01-21-.01 and .03 through .04. This rule revision reflects updates to statutory citations to align with recent amendments to state civil rights statutes and makes needed clerical edits. On July 1, 2025, pursuant to TCA 4-3-1704, the requirement that state entities submit annual Title VI compliance reports and implementation plans moved from the Tennessee Human Rights Commission to the Tennessee Department of Human Resources. The rule lists the responsibilities of the Tennessee Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights, including submitting the department's annual Title VI compliance report and implementation plan. The proposed revisions clarify the department's intention to comply with the statute and submit its annual implementation plan to the Department of Human Resources accordingly. Lastly is Accountability Hearings Rule 0520-09-02-.01 through .04. This item proposed revisions based on feedback collected by the board following the March 2026 accountability hearings. The changes include removing references to the state report card to allow more flexibility in the timing of the department's release of school letter grades, increasing the timeline for submitting evidence of a local Board of Education or charter schools governing body's decision to close a school, clarifying language related to the timeline and process for notifying the state board of an unavoidable conflict in attending the hearing, removing the required timeline for proposing corrective actions to allow the committee more flexibility to determine if a corrective action is warranted, outlining when an LEA or charter school may be called back for another hearing in the event the state board does not recommend corrective action, and clarifying the state board's options when voting on the committee's proposal for corrective action. With those brief explanations, I will now move into the public comments regarding the proposed rules. Please note that rulemaking hearings are an opportunity for the State Board to collect feedback on the proposed rule to inform potential revisions and is not a question and answer session. During the public comment portion of the hearing, please state your name and organizational affiliation, if any, before making your comment. Each person who wishes to speak will be allotted 3 minutes, and you will hear my phone alarm when the 3 minutes are up. We have one speaker in person today and a number of speakers online. Since this meeting is taking place electronically, if there is anyone else online who would like to give a public comment, please feel free to come off of mute and announce yourself and your name, or enter your name in the chat and we will make sure to call on you. I will start with the in-person attendees, and then I will switch and call our online attendees to come off of mute and give their comment one at a time. So first we have Gibson Keith.
Dear members of the Tennessee State Board of Education, my name is Gibson Keith. I am the TWLTA, Tennessee World Language Teachers Association Advocacy Chair. I also support Metro Nashville Public Schools World Language Teachers. I respectfully submit this comment in support of maintaining the requirement that students complete 2 consecutive years of world language study as part of Tennessee's high school graduation requirements. Language acquisition is a cumulative process in which the skills developed in 1 year serve as the essential foundation for more advanced communication, literacy, and cultural understanding in subsequent coursework. When students experience gaps between foreign language courses, they often lose proficiency, making it more difficult for educators to build upon prior learning. Requiring consecutive years of study helps ensure stronger retention, deeper engagement, and greater confidence of students' ability to use the language effectively. In addition to strengthening learning outcomes, the consecutive year requirement plays a critical role in preserving and expanding students' post-secondary opportunities. Many colleges and universities expect or strongly recommend sustained world language study for admission. Continuous language learning better prepares students for competitive academic programs, scholarships, and study abroad experiences, as well as careers in fields such as business, healthcare, education, government, and international relations. By supporting consistent progression rather than fragmented exposure, Tennessee can better equip its graduates with the skills needed to pursue a wide range of future pathways. Maintaining this requirement ultimately promotes college and career readiness while ensuring that students have access to the broadest possible set of opportunities after graduation. Reducing the expectation to any 2 years of study, regardless of the sequence of completing them, may unintentionally limit students' preparedness and narrow their future choices. For these reasons, I urge the Tennessee State Board of Education to preserve the requirement that students must complete 2 consecutive years of world language instruction. Thank you for your consideration and your continued commitment to supporting the success of Tennessee students.
Thank you so much. I'll now switch to our online attendees. Again, if you would like to give a public comment, please feel free to enter that information into the chat so we can make sure to call on you. I will begin with Matthew Harrison. Mr. Harrison, whenever you're ready, you may come off mute and begin your 3 minutes.
Hi, I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Awesome. My name is Matthew Harrison, and I am a Tennessee educator and world language teacher. I want to begin by sincerely thanking the board for listening to educators, families, and other stakeholders, and for maintaining the 2-credit world language graduation requirement. I also want to express my support for the language waiver option that the board has fine-tuned. I believe this approach provides the appropriate flexibility for students with individual circumstances, while also preserving the value of world language study as an important component of a well-rounded education. However, I respectfully urge the board to reconsider the proposed removal of the sequential language requirement. The purpose of studying a world language is not simply to accumulate 2 credits. is to develop increasing proficiency in communication and cultural understanding. Language learning is inherently cumulative, and the skills students develop in a first level course provide the foundation for a more complex communication and deeper cultural understanding that occur in the second level. Allowing students to satisfy the requirement by completing, for example, Spanish 1 and French 1 may provide exposure to two languages, but exposure is not the same as progression towards proficiency. Students would essentially begin the language learning process twice rather than building upon the knowledge and skills they've already developed. At a time when Tennessee is preparing students to participate in an increasingly interconnected workforce and global economy, I believe we should encourage depth of learning rather than simply breadth of exposure. Requiring two sequential credits in the same language gives students a stronger foundation and a more meaningful educational experience. I'm grateful that the board has chosen to maintain the 2 credit requirement and has developed a thorough waiver process for students who need additional flexibility. I just respectfully ask that you preserve the sequential component of that requirement as well. Thanks for your time, your service to Tennessee students, and your consideration. I'll be putting my speech in the chat as well, just in case any portion of this audio cut out virtually with the Wi-Fi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Next, I have Blakely McCracken. Whenever you are ready, you are welcome to come off of mute and begin your 3 minutes.
Good morning, members of the Tennessee State Board of Education. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Blakely McCracken, and I'm here to express my concern about the recent change to the world language requirement that no longer requires students to take 2 consecutive courses in the same language. While I understand the desire to provide flexibility for students, I believe that this change unintentionally weakens the purpose of language education. Language learning is a cumulative process. In the first course, students leave with the ability to recognize and repeat simple phrases, not confidently hold conversations or understand real-world communication. Those skills are developed through continued study, when students have enough foundation to start thinking in the language rather than translating it word by word. This is especially important in today's world. Social media, technology, and global communication have made the world feel smaller than ever before. We interact daily with people from different cultures, backgrounds, and languages. Language barriers are no longer something that we encounter only when traveling abroad. They exist in our schools, workplaces, healthcare settings, and online communities. As a student who has continued language study beyond the introductory level, I have personally seen the difference. The growth in confidence, understanding, and communication between the first and second course is very significant. I would not have reached that point if I stopped after a single course. It's about fulfilling a graduation requirement. It is about preparing students to communicate effectively in an increasingly connected world. Consecutive language study helps students develop cultural understanding, empathy, and practical communication skills that will help them benefit for the rest of their lives. I encourage the board to consider the long-term impact of this policy and explore ways to promote consecutive language study so that Tennessee students leave our schools not only with an appreciation of other cultures, but with the ability to communicate with the people who represent them. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Peyton Williams. Whenever you are ready, you are welcome to come off of mute and begin your 3 minutes.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me okay. Thank you for
Yes.
allowing me to speak. My name is Peyton Williams, and I am a Tennessee student, and I'm here to speak on the graduation requirements. I personally believe it would benefit students more to keep the sequential world language requirement. I have experienced the value of world language education, which is why I feel so strongly about keeping it. There is a significant difference between taking 2 years of the same language and taking 1 year each of 2 different languages. 1 year of a language provides early knowledge, while 2 consecutive years provides the opportunity to delve deeper into mastery. After completing a level 1 course, most students are able to communicate basic things such as asking and answering simple questions, remembering basic vocabulary, and communicating using practiced and memorized sentences. But by the end of level 2, students are able to communicate with greater confidence, hold longer conversations, and apply grammar in meaningful ways. I can say this because I went through 2 levels of Spanish myself, and I know firsthand if I had stopped after 1 year, the language would not have stuck with me. It was the second year everything clicked. I grew confident. I was able to communicate better. I was able to think in the language, and I was able to use what I had learned. I was only able to grow in that ability because I had continued down a path of consistency. One way that I can compare the essentialness of a sequential language is by taking a band class. We would not expect a student to play the drums one semester, then immediately change to the guitar the next, and expect mastery in both. The student will only be able to play the little they've learned in a short amount of time, practicing a few songs or a few keys. Schools invest an entire year building a foundation, and the second year is where that foundation can really be usable. Many colleges also offer language proficiency exams. Students who complete 2 years of the same language are more likely to earn college credit, save tuition costs, and focus on their degree-specific courses. And beyond the classroom, this requirement directly impacts a student's future. When it comes to college admissions, many four-year universities prefer at least 2 years of the same language. Secondly, in the workforce, employees who are able to communicate across languages are highly valued by their employers. If we believe that an education in world language has value, then our graduation requirements should encourage mastery, not just completion. I respectfully ask the board to retain the requirement that students complete 2 consecutive credits in the same world language. This requirement supports deeper learning, stronger communication skills, and greater opportunities for our graduates. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. If there are any other speakers online who would like to give a public comment, I'm going to leave the hearing open for a few more minutes just to see if we have any additional speakers. You are welcome to type in the chat to indicate that you would like to give a comment. You are also welcome to come off of mute if you would like to give a comment. You can also email taylor.bates2@tn.gov if you're having any trouble coming off of mute or typing in the chat, and you can let Taylor know in that email that you would like to give a public comment. As I said, I'm going to leave the hearing open for another few minutes, just in case we have any additional comments online. Seeing no additional requests for public comment online, I want to make a few final reminders before we adjourn. It is anticipated that the board will vote on final reading of these rules at its quarterly meeting on August 28th, 2026. Specific details about that meeting agenda and how to attend or watch online will be posted on the State Board's website under the meetings page. If the board approves these rules on final reading, they will be sent to the Attorney General's office for review and approval, be published on the Secretary of State's website for 90 days, and go before the Joint Government Operations Committee of the Tennessee House and Senate. The State Board of Education appreciates everyone who took time out of their day to attend today's hearing. And with no further business on the agenda, this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.
I didn't turn this off.